Hello everyone, and welcome to this short, sweet little Montezooma update here. Montezooma's Revenge construction and refurbishment update. Nor are we going to count this as a short. It's kind of somewhere in between. But it's been a couple months since I've gotten to knots between work and different schedule conflicts. And we didn't go in for the scary pass this year. We decided to invest that in other adventures for future days, months, and years here on the channel. But anyway, getting to the point, Montezooma's alive and well. Obviously, this is how it looked before, and I'm going to include some photos of the other side. I rode Jaguar just a little while ago tonight, and I couldn't believe my eyes, guys. There was the same essential structure built on the other side. But the main difference was the structure on the other side not only had some openings, not only had some kind of ladder, almost like a little stairwell in the middle, but you could tell that the stripping off the old paint, the pressure wash, and whatever process was coming is coming sooner than later, I think. And that is just a great sign to see, on top of the holes in the tarp and a little bit of work at the station, which is wonderful as well. So I might include that here now. And here indeed on episode 13 of Montezooma's Revenge Construction and Refurbishment Update. Short and sweet, just like the Christmas treats and the holidays of the season. This episode focuses on the fact, guys, that, again, not only is this project alive and well, as I have to keep repeating that, but this ride has been through so much dramatic stuff. Near closures, lawsuits, botched operations from coomback coasters, and now to be on its second and third life, it's just fantastic to see. So excuse the excitement. But we enjoyed that night ride on Jaguar as we were going through the trees here. I was like, my goodness. So as you can see, they've extended this sort of, it looked almost like an AC unit. They've covered the track, but this tarp thing, they essentially have all this track stripped of the paint, primed, and ready to be fused with either the new track developed at the factory that they've had pre-ordered, made by either Intamin or Gerstlauer or S&S, or perhaps it's the old track that maybe got some work done on it to come back and get re-welded onto there. I do kind of doubt that. I am leaning towards they copied the blueprints and they made new track. But like I said, I'll still consider this a Schwarzkopf. But like I pointed out, as you look here, they actually have now done the same thing to the backs that they had done to the front spike, guys. Amazingly over here, now you can see that both supports of the original front and back spike now have been covered in these tarp-like structures, and essentially the same progress has begun. But this is a great sign that we are working towards the goal of getting this ride up and operating again. Now, as you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and honestly, neither is Montezooma's Revenge. So, as I mentioned, it's going to be going on close to 3 years, but the progress is good, and considering all, this was a huge improvement, I think, and a big step forward in getting this ride off the ground. Because, like I said, with that track ready to go, who knows what they're going to do with the queue, and we certainly hope that they're going to follow up with their promise on some of that theming. And yes, exciting times indeed, guys. But as you can see here with this queue, imagine this station we're looking at. Imagine how we always loaded traditionally on Montezooma's Revenge with that ramp that kind of came up through the back end here behind the loading station. So essentially, they're going to flip it on its script. They're going to flip everything upside down here, flipping the table over. So where we would exit Montezooma's Revenge, close by where that Ace landmark plaque is for this historic coaster, I believe that is going to be closer to where the new entrance is. However, I think the area below the loading station is now going to get utilized, and we're going to get this theming, essentially where we're stranded, surviving explorers looking for gold, fools exploring the heart of the temple of the forbidden treasures of Montezooma. So now, as we try to escape, we're going to have to jump on this coaster, of course, and launch at high speeds at a random forward or backward launch to get away from this cursed, angry Aztec god. So, with all that being said, theming this to the queue, theming it to the adventure vibe would be awesome and would complete the theme of the out front of the Jaguar temple. And I always wonder if they're going to combine this, make it look like a temple and have the two temples combined, or if Montezuma is going to get its own look. Because when you look at some of this artwork, guys, you definitely can tell that they planned on putting in supposedly interactive parts of the queue along with booby trap like features on the search for the gold, the quest, if you would. So let's hope they keep their word, and let's get this queue to be as fantastic as the ride. But if they had to cut anything on budget, then forget all that fancy stuff. We don't have to compete with any other rides or any other attractions anywhere else. Let's just focus on a solid, healthy revamp of the classic shuttle loop from Schwarzkopf. And that being said, guys, looking here through the trees, I mean, that ride on Jaguar really helped me see that not only have they moved those cranes around, not only have they worked, but I think a lot of this work is behind the scenes, and it looks like they haven't done, jack in a while. But in reality, I think there's a lot going on that we can't see. Of course, a lot of planning. I think off-site there's a lot of track being manufactured somewhere in Germany, Switzerland, somewhere in Southern or Eastern Europe. There definitely is track being made. I think that's going to be shipped here, when time and regional shipping issues permitting. Obviously, probably with the holidays, I imagine that delays everything. So I wouldn't expect any track to come on site until probably, I'm being optimistic here, we're just going to say January, maybe February, we get some track on site, and then we actually see that track being put in. Assuming they're keeping everything with the supports and everything else is going great with the refurbishment, we should be seeing some new track coming in, I would think, January, February, and we should be getting that track installed by March. That way, they could possibly get this open by the end of the summer for 2025, roughly celebrating the 2-year anniversary of the new Fiesta Village. Honestly, now I'd like to ask everybody at home watching this a question. What do you guys think about the launch? First and foremost, I wonder how many of us loved the original launch with the, essentially the shuttle loop, with the mechanism with that little robot and the flywheel launch and the way. I know there's the other version that I rode, I believe the drop weight launch that used to be Tidal Wave at California's Great America. That one, the launch didn't really get me like it did on Montezuma's Revenge. It felt a little more tame. Just like a supposedly Incredicoaster at Disney's California Adventure is 54 miles an hour. Now, I don't know if I believe that. It's a zippy launch. It probably feels 45, 50. I definitely think it's a little better than the launch on West Coast Racers. At least that first launch. The second launch is better. But otherwise, I honestly think the original launch on Montezuma was fantastic. I love the way it felt with that pull. I love how the back really yanked you into the ride and the front really pushed you into the ride. And getting that we're going to either get LSM or LIM launch here coming, which hopefully, obviously they're not going to go with another intimate hydraulic launch. So we're not going to get something similar to what Accelerator has, because that's already expensive enough. And that would be ridiculous to replace the costly flywheel launch with the hydraulic launch. But that being said, the LIMs had some issues, so I could see them going with the LSMs. But I hear they're a little more tame. And from rides I've experienced, they just don't have the get-up of an old school, flywheel launch. But that's okay. I have a feeling maybe they just crank it up to 60 miles an hour. Now, with all those original rumors, could we get more track on the front or back spike? Or do you think we're going to get back to that original height of 140 feet on the front spike, 141 feet, or 144 feet, excuse me, and 112 feet on the rear spike? Or do you think they might raise it up a bit? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But yeah, I missed the launch already. And there's obviously a lot of other great rides that you can give you a great experience. And I think Accelerator is the best launch coaster in California. And even though I did love Superman when it was open, when I did ride that back in the early mid-2000s and in the 90s, when it was just Escape from Krypton, or Superman the Escape, excuse me. Montezuma's Revenge always had a snappier launch, and then Accelerator always had a better launch, because it's just taking 7 seconds to pick up that speed. It just kind of meandered a bit, but I still love that ride, and I certainly hope that they do keep Superman open, or they get it fixed sooner than later. But back to the point here with the original, grandfather of Superman, Montezooma's Revenge. Let's just see what kind of launch they get. We know it's going to have the over-the-shoulder restraints due to the fact that if it's going to be a launch coaster that goes backwards in California, I'm pretty sure that's a new standard law. All I can say is, not being a fan of the over-the-shoulder restraints, I certainly hope that this ride really picks up that launch when it's randomized. And if they really think they need those OVSTRs, or whatever the acronym is, then let's hope that this ride really has some kick, guys. Kind of turned into a Montezooma's Revenge update. It's number lucky 13. It's the 13, I was going to say the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. No, just kidding. It's the 13 days of Christmas, and your truest love, Montezuma, gave to thee hope, with new track on the way on the horizon, and a new future and a new launch to be. I'm just kidding. I'm not big with my poetry, as you saw in my Castle Park night before Christmas. I do other things. I write music, but poetry and rhyme is not necessarily one of my gifts when it comes to kind of on the fly, but we're doing Christmas carols. But I will say that here on this episode, this launch, I think, is going to kick a lot of butt. I'm not a fan of Premiere. Premiere's okay. I do like Full Throttle. I'm not going to say I don't. The Skyrockets are decent. Superman is better than Electric Eel. I really like just having that lap bar. Feeling like you're going to fall out on that JoJo roll is nuts at Discovery Kingdom. So, all right, guys, and wasn't that incredible? Like I said, I was able to get a couple of nice shots there on Jaguar, and here with that iconic Peanuts holiday-themed music here. It's not quite Christmas yet. This will actually be on the eve of Thanksgiving. I was going to do a Thanksgiving at Knott's, but we might do that next year. But these autumn leaves sure are pretty. But yeah, guys, I've also talked to management tonight. Montezuma not only is alive and well, they're guaranteeing 2025. So that couldn't be even better. They've learned not to commit, obviously, to a month with everything that's gone on. But at least I know it's coming. And my fingers are crossed it's going to be summer, fall of 2025 here. It had leaked kind of unofficially that it could be Zamperla, Intamin, Gerstlauer, or even Mach. I know that we are going to be getting Premier trains. I believe they already got them here somewhere on property. But yeah, as you saw with that other spike, guys, essentially the station has that original track. There's about 400, 420, 450, maybe 480 feet of original straight track before the loop and on either side of those spikes. And we're wondering, is that track from the back spikes getting refurbished? Is it just getting scrapped and melted down? Are they going to use that for the blueprint to basically modify and redesign themselves new track? Because the way they took all the paint off the track in the station, yes, guys, the station had all the paint off the track, which was great to see. I didn't get any footage of that tonight, but it was just wonderful to see. Because that tells me that not only is this project not dead in the water, but alive and living. But like I said in episode 4 or 5 of Montezuma's Revenge construction version update, it was going to be the Franken coaster, but at this point it's going to be pretty much a mixture of the classic Schwarzkopf, and if they follow that blueprint on the track, it's going to be one of those scenarios where do you count Disneyland as an arrow, or do you count it as that DEW company that redid everything through Disney World and Disneyland? You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be one of those potato situations, depending on what type of coaster fan, just general lover of amusement parks, or what type of enthusiast you are with that opinion. But anyway, just wanted to give you a short little update. The channel's obviously alive and well, but we didn't get here for a bit. So until then, you guys hang tight. You know the next adventure is coming soon, and Montezuma 2025 will launch again to go with this wonderful Fiesta Village that opened in 2023. And it's kind of hard to believe, once we get to February 6th of this next year, we're going to be going on 3 years without this iconic ride, the classic Schwarzkopf shuttle loop, which has been roaring through Montezuma's Revenge station here at Fiesta Village and Knott's Berry Farm. Although we're technically in Camp Snoopy, Knott's kind of has a little bit of a way they kind of do the spacing. It's kind of like Disneyland. They fit a lot in a small area. But yes, until next time, guys, take care. And we'll see you on a full Montezuma's Revenge update, or a couple other surprises I have in store for you all. So take care and good night. And I'm not going to say Merry Christmas, but I will say Happy Thanksgiving and happy Coasters Giving. All right. Good night.